welcome and Khushamadid. You're watching and listening to The Note with me, Mahrukh Inayat. Bollywood forever has been considered as India's soft power. Today, as the country is in the midst of perhaps one of our biggest humanitarian crises, the second wave of COVID, it is the Hindi film industry that is also facing the impact of this crisis. With me on this episode of The Note is a very special guest, a Bollywood insider, somebody who's understood the industry inside out. He's a famous trade analyst, a film critic, and also somebody who understands the business of cinema, Mr. Komal Nahata. Sir, thank you so much for being on The Note again.
Thank
Lovely
you
to
for
see
that
you in the...
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I don't know whether I deserve all that, but thank you.
You absolutely do, sir. And lovely to see you in the video form. Last time we had an audio
Okay.
podcast. Lovely to see you in person.
Same
I
here.
know you're recovering from COVID, and thank you for still taking the time out for being on the
Most
note.
welcome. Most welcome. You're such
Uh,
a nice interviewer. I couldn't dream of saying no. So although I kept postponing, I'm sorry for that, but I had to do it.
No, not a problem, sir. We completely understand. I want to start by asking you, Mr. Nahata, Mumbai, the heart of the Hindi film industry, was the first one to be hit, as well as Maharashtra. We're showing a remarkable recovery thanks to the administration and the way the authorities are working. But how do you see the film industry being impacted in the second wave, perhaps, that you didn't see last year? Is there any difference that you see?
I think the difference is only because we had gotten used to that 50% occupancy. In some states, they had enhanced to 10% occupancy. So we had gotten used to that from October, November, right till Jan and Feb. And then suddenly, one by one, the states started imposing lockdowns, and consequently, they ordered the cinemas to shut down. So once the lockdown was over I'm talking about September, October, we had gotten used to revival. And therefore, the second outbreak of the coronavirus has come as a rude shock because we never expected it would be so terrible. And entirely, the whole of India cinemas would have to shut down and shootings have had to be stopped in Maharashtra. So the impact is far more. Plus, when the tragedy is more severe, whether your business is directly affected or not, the impact you feel is 10 times more. So that is happening with the film industry. Otherwise, right till September, October, there were no releases in the cinemas because they were shut. Now also they are shut down and therefore there haven't been any releases. But we feel that the impact is much more for two reasons. One, we had gotten used to working at 50% or more capacity, but less than 100% capacity. And secondly, now there are no shootings and the severity of the coronavirus outbreak is so terrible that absolutely nothing makes sense except how many people are dying, how many people are suffering, not getting oxygen, not getting beds, etc. So I think
I
that is
think I think the psychological impact has been a lot more this time, which has perhaps hit the spirit of the Hindi film industry, wouldn't you say?
definitely it has hit the spirit. And now, in the first outbreak, right till September, October, there were people who were talking in terms of, we have to begin shooting. Our film is ready for release. When will it release? When will the cinemas open? Now, all that talk has just vanished, just disappeared. Now, people are bothered about when will this virus end? When will safer times come back? So, they are not thinking in terms of their own interest. It's now a human, not that last time people were not
It
concerned
wasn't.
about human lives, but now more so. And now the business part has taken a complete backseat. People are only concerned about safety and security of their near and dear ones and of humanity at large.
Very interesting that you say that. In the midst of this, you've written extensively about it, came the release of Salman Khan's Radhe, a very interesting route that he used to release the film, pay-per-view. If you could tell our viewers what really was the planning behind that, and was that a huge risk for Salman, and has it paid off?
I'll tell you the logic. When they announced more than a month back that it would be a multi-platform release, what they had in mind was let's release it in the cinemas where the states permit. And that time, the thought was around 13th May, most of the states will permit cinemas to work, some at 50%, some at 70 or 80%, and several states at 100%. So we'll release it in the cinemas and we'll supplement it with the OTT and DTH release. So
Right.
we won't miss out on anything. Everything will be simultaneous. To their misfortune, what happened? The second outbreak of the coronavirus came, and it came so severely that one after another, every state government ordered the cinemas to shut down, which means where they'd expected 50, 70, 80, or 100% occupancy, the
Right.
occupancy in cinemas went down to zero. You'd be surprised to know that the only city in which Radhe was released theatrically on 13th May was Tripura in India. Just one city in India, and there is one group, SSR Cinemas, which owns cinemas in that city. So they released it in 3 cinemas of that city. That's all. And they said that we had promised our patrons that we would come with Radhe. So we've just kept the promise. There is no excitement. We can't urge the people to come to the cinemas because they are fearing for their lives. So we've just kept our promise. Similarly, Salman and Zee also just kept their commitment to release on 13th May. Of course, there was a dual commitment because Salman had said, see you on 13th May in the cinemas. Now, since the cinemas were closed and that was beyond their control, they kept that first part of their promise, see you on 13th. And therefore, the multi-platform release actually got converted into a solo platform release, or if you could, it's actually a solo platform release because digital is digital, whether it's the
Right.
OTT platforms Z5 and Zplex or the DTH platforms Tata Sky, Airtel, Dish TV, and D2H. So they took a huge risk because when they announced 13th May and they announced a multi-platform release, the least they would have expected from the cinemas is a share of approximately 75, 80 crore to 100 crore. Because that is generally what a Salman Khan starrer does. And
Right.
now you will say, but generally, how can you count that? Because there was no film which was coming around that time. So, what would have probably, what revenue it would have generated in 2 or 3 months, in 2 or 3 weeks otherwise, they were planning that it would generate in probably 6 or 7 weeks, but they would generate about 80 to 100 crore share, which means collections of 175 to 200 crore.
Right.
That got wiped out. The share of 80 to 100 crore for Zee got completely wiped off because cinemas were ordered to shut down. So it was a huge risk they were taking, but nobody imagined that the risk would be so huge,
Huge.
because nobody in their wildest of dreams thought that cinemas would shut down across India. Then Zee had bought all the rights and all world rights. So there was audio, there was satellite. So audio, satellite, these remained untouched. And OTT and DTH, now 80 to 100 crore loss from the cinemas. If you think that they can recover from OTT and DTH, then it's foolhardiness. You cannot. You cannot. It's one source of revenue completely reduced to zero. So that is a huge loss which they faced. On the other hand, since the IPL matches were cancelled, the corporates, the sponsors, etc., of those matches realized that their ad films, etc., were ready. So let us now advertise in Radhe rather than during the IPL matches. So that was a small sort of bonus for the Radhe people. And yes, plus what hit them very badly is once the film released on OTT and DTH, the piracy took over so enormously that 70 to 80% of the business of Zee from OTT and DTH platforms was lost to piracy. You know, when the format used to be first cinema release and then followed by OTT after 8 weeks or whatever, when people used to ask me what is the loss of the film industry to pirates, I used to say probably 15-20%. In the case of Radhe, I would say it's 70 to 80% because there's a big difference. In the days of cinema release, theatrical release, the audience had a choice to see a film, a pirated version for free on the small screen, as against buying a ticket and watching it on the big screen. A lot of people, despite having to pay money, they went to the cinemas, did not succumb to the pressure of watching a pirated version because of the thrill of big screen entertainment. In the case of Radhe, there is no big screen entertainment. So the choice is between watching on the small screen in the comfort of your home by paying money, or watching it on the small screen in the comfort of your home for free by cheating. Now, Indians, we are not very law-abiding citizens, especially a toothless law like the law of piracy. Film piracy, it's a toothless law. Nothing happens. Nobody has been convicted. Nobody has been sent to jail. It's a crime according to law. Lekin its implementation by the government is absolutely almost zero. Now also Zee had filed a complaint. Salman Khan had gone on social media to warn people that
We
don't
saw that.
indulge in piracy,
Yes.
you will get punished. It's a criminal activity. But it didn't stop. People watched it on Telegram, on WhatsApp, everywhere they watched it. Now almost three people have been traced. But what is going to be the benefit to Zee? It's not as if that 70 to 80% of the revenue lost to Zee is going to come back because three people have been traced. At the most, it has theoretical value, but the loss is a dead loss. So they did take a big risk, and the risk turned out to be bigger. One, because all cinemas across India were closed, and secondly, because of this horrendous
Practice
wave
of
of
piracy.
piracy.
So, Salman, while leading this, trying to lead with a new example or a new way of releasing films, I would have imagined before the entire lockdown happened, many would have looked at it as a possible solution. But with the complete lockdown, for other biggies like 83 or Bell Bottom or the other films that are Suryavanshi that are going to come out, it clearly seems that they might not go this route. Would that be your assessment as well?
100%. You are very right because it's like playing with the fortunes of a film. We have seen what havoc piracy can wreak on the film in the case of Radhe. And we have also seen that if the cinemas are not going to open anytime soon, that loss is too huge a loss to cover from the OTT platform. So I think those people who have committed for OTT release, they will carry on with their commitment. And there will be new producers also who'd say that, okay, we'll go on the OTT. But for the double platform release, I think this was one case which, of course, didn't really fructify, but
Right.
people will not think in those terms. People have realized that on, once it is available digitally, it really is impossible in India to stop piracy.
Now, another big problem, Mr. Nahata, is the fact that film shoots have stopped. There is a demand, a request that has been made to the Maharashtra government that start the film shoots. The industry is bleeding. Where do you see, what is your sense? Is the government going to give in anytime soon? Or are these shoots going to be stopped? And how does that affect the backlog? Because we've heard a lot of announcements being made by actors, by directors, by producers, one after the next. I mean, through the early part of this year, we saw so many announcements, and one was wondering, when are these films actually going to be made? How huge is this backlog? And when are these announcements actually going to fructify into films that are made and then released?
See, the backlog consists of two kinds of films. One is those films which are ready and only the post production remains. For them, it is not such a big problem. But several of those announcements were of films which had to be shot. Probably 10-day shooting was spending, 15 days, 25 days. So they announced in advance. Now that shooting has come to a halt, and therefore that part of the release chart has gone topsy turvy. You cannot release an incomplete film. So when shooting starts and when is a big question mark. I don't see the Maharashtra government succumbing to pressure from the industry people because I'll tell you, because almost every single film unit reported COVID spread of
Cases.
COVID and several of them COVID deaths. So it's now clear that where people assemble in large numbers, it becomes very difficult to actually stop the spread of the virus. Bio bubbles, everything is all fine. Theoretically, it is fine, but practically, we have seen whether it is television serials or web series or film shootings, there have been coronavirus cases, and we have lost several artists, several unit members to the virus because they contracted the virus on the sets. So I don't think the government is going to yield in so easily, and therefore, probably when the cinemas open, there is a good chunk. There are at least 15 or 20 films which, with 5 or 7 days of post production, 10 days post production, will be able to release. So it's not as if the cinemas will go a begging. But after that, after probably a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months, there will be felt a shortage because those films are not yet ready. And the time that is taken to shoot and complete and then do the post production, that has to be accounted for.
Mr. Nahata, last year we saw a large number of films releasing on OTT platforms. It almost seemed to a layperson that OTT platforms were taking whichever films were ready because they also needed a certain, library of content for viewers. Are you seeing the same trend still continue, or are OTT platforms now becoming more picky or having the last word in? Are they still takers for smaller films?
I lost you. I lost the last part of the question.
No, what I was saying was, do OTT platforms now have the upper hand because they know that producers and filmmakers are in a bind? The films can't release and they need a platform. So, do they have the upper hand, which has kind of changed from last year? And secondly, do smaller films still have a platform where they can be, put up? Are OTT platforms taking smaller films, which might not have big stars?
See, about the upper hand, I don't think, even last year, it is all a question of demand and supply. There was enough demand and there was enough supply. So it was a question of negotiations. Nobody put a gun to the producer's head or vice versa. The producer didn't put a gun to the OTT platform's head that you have to buy my film. So it was a question of negotiations. And like any other transaction, there was give and take, there was khichataani, there was pulling and pushing and all that. And then the best economic price prevailed. So also now, not much has changed. If the producers are actually dying for a platform, so are the OTT platforms dying for content, because shootings of web series have also come to a halt. Shootings of OTT films have also come to a halt. So it works both ways. The OTT platforms know that the producers are eager to sell their products. The producers know the OTT platforms are dying for content. So I think it's just like water takes its own course. These economic laws of demand and supply will work, and they will arrive at the price at which film should be sold or bought. But yes, a lot of OTT platforms lost heavily, burned their fingers very badly because it was new. Nobody knew what's the ideal price, what's the right price. Having said that, I'll also add that it's not as simple for the OTT platforms as to think that I paid X amount and I did not recover X amount. They don't want to recover the entire money because there are many angles. Coupons, they give free coupons, they increase their subscriber base. So they take a very holistic view, and therefore, although it may appear that this film lost money, for them it may be a different calculation altogether, which is why they continue to pay prices and huge prices and acquire content. And it's not as if OTT platforms are also not foolish. They don't expect that whatever they are buying is going to be a hit. They also know there'll be hits, flops, average, etc., etc. But the prices I see over a period of time, the prices coming down because the OTT platforms then will have built a reasonable library. After that, they will say we can't pay so much. So the producers can expect the prices to come down probably after 6 or 8 months.
One of the other tussles we saw, Mr. Nahata, was the tussle between cinema owners and producers. So in the middle, the producers found themselves in the middle. Cinema owners on the one hand saying that we don't want simultaneous releases. OTT platforms on the other saying that we do. And that seemed to be a huge tussle that a lot of producers were battling with. Where do you see that going? Do you see cinema owners having, cowed under pressure and seemingly more understanding of what a producer faces?
I don't think the national multiplex chains are going to bow down to pressure at all. Even in the case of Radhe, PVR, Inox, Carnival, and Cinepolis, these 4 national multiplex chains made it absolutely clear we are not going to release the film. Even if the government, for one moment, let's just assume that the governments, some 7 or 8 state governments would have announced that, okay, cinemas can reopen. These 4 national multiplex chains would not have released Radhe for the simple reason that they said, we do not subscribe to this multi-platform release. There has to be a gap between theatrical release and when you go to the OTT platform. So it was clear, and they are not going to yield in so easily. But the standalone single screen cinemas or the non-national multiplex chains, there are owners who have 1 multiplex or probably 7 or 8 or 10 or 15 multiplexes. Now they don't comprise they don't belong to the national multiplex chains. They are away different from the national multiplex chains. I think they have reconciled themselves to the fact that even if it is a multi-platform release, we are going to support the producers. So I see in the coming days, if this coronavirus impact goes on for a long time, if it stops, if people feel safe and secure, we'll return to the old model of theatrical release followed by OTT release after a gap, probably if not 8 weeks, maybe 6 weeks or whatever it is. But if this multi-platform release continues and all, I see the single screen cinemas and non-national multiplexes or the chains breaking away from the national multiplex chains and saying, We don't care. If you all are not interested in releasing, we are very much interested, and therefore there may be two associations: one of the national multiplex chains and the other of the non-national multiplexes and the single screen cinemas. That is bound to happen because there's so much of discontent within the group that they cannot survive together now.
You know, one of the things, Mr. Nahata, that you are known for, and many within your community, is estimating the success of a film, of a release in the first weekend itself. I remember you put blogs on it, you put a tweet about the success of how popular a film is by the amount of money it makes at the box office. What are your new parameters of judging the success of a film, especially if it's releasing on OTT platforms?
Unfortunately, there are no parameters for the simple reason that there is just no transparency from the side of the OTT platforms. You know, Zplex, that is Z Group, probably at least made an attempt, and they said 4.2 million views on the first day. Now, there are people who are saying, how do we understand whether it's a fake figure or it's a true figure or whatever it is? I'm saying at least they made an attempt, even if it is not 100% true, even if they have increased the actual figure by 5% or 10%, they have at least cared to give us an idea of how many people, how many views there were on the first day. Otherwise, the international OTT platforms have only sent out press releases which mean nothing, that it has done great business, it is the highest viewed. What does highest viewed mean? For every mother, her child is the best looking, the most handsome, or if it's a girl, she's the most beautiful child. But there has to be an objective outside body, independent body to assess. Sadly, we are at a loss because we have no figures. So therefore, the only parameters now we use is, in my reviews, I generally write, if it's a bad film, it's a flop. If it's a good film, then I write, had it been released in normal times in the cinemas, it would have done 100 crore, 150 crore, 75 crore, 200 crore. That is the only way we can give an idea to our readers about how good or how bad the film is, commercially speaking, because I only deal with the commercial aspects of it. I don't, right. I assess the aesthetics of a film, but based on those aesthetics, I forecast what the public will think of the film, and therefore it will do 100 crore or 200 crore or 250 crore. So I think it's very sad that these OTT platforms are not coming clean and really revealing figures. Long back when my father had started our magazine, Film Information, it used to be difficult even to get hold of the box office collections. The producers and distributors used to fudge the collections and give, but we had a battery of representatives. We had about 100 representatives all across India who used to ring up the cinemas, who used to use their sources and give us the genuine figures. We had reporters in Bombay, 20, 25 reporters who used to make calls and, verify and cross-verify from various sources before the figures went into print. Now, then slowly but surely, every distributor and every producer realized there's no sense. They will get the true figures. So all that thing changed and people became very transparent. I'm just hoping that the OTT platforms also become transparent, because transparency has never really adversely affected anybody. It only helps. It's just the mindset. Their mindset needs to change. If they come clean and say, this film so many people saw and therefore we lost money, or this film so many people saw and therefore we gained money, it will become so much easier. Now, when we talk about this film has done 200 crore, 220 crore, these are genuine figures backed by box office takings of a film. But the first move has to be made from the side of the OTT platforms.
I'm going to ask you a question that I asked you last year as well, when the first wave happened, which is, what has this pandemic done to the celebrity culture of Bollywood? We don't see the stars. These stars who feed on being in the limelight all the time are all in their homes away. They're getting bad press if they try to expose themselves or show that they're going on holidays and so on. And they, to give them credit, some of them are actively working to help a lot of people, using their popularity to. But what happens to the inherent celebrity culture and the importance that these A-listers used to have? Has that diminished? Or do you think it's still intact?
I think it is intact. It's just a matter of time. And, negative talk gains momentum. Social media is a horrible monster, according to me, because all the faceless creatures can come and pass whatever comments they want. And at this juncture, when there are no films, they can write and trash the stars, the topmost stars, and say that they are useless, worthless. There's that post for writing good things about some stars and writing good things because I feel it's a good thing. But
Right.
people are so frustrated, so frustrated. I think this is just a passing phase. The moment people get down to their normal lives, A, they will not have the urge to badmouth the stars, and B, at that time they will realize the futility of all this because it won't stop. Social media is always full of trolls, etc., etc. That will continue, but this extra weightage given to trolls because people have nothing to do now, that will stop. As for the celebrities, of course, the celebrity culture is such that if you do not get the attention, if you are not in the limelight, it is not easy. Having tasted so much of being positioning in the limelight, for them not to be really sought after because they can't come out, etc., it must not. I can well understand, and it must be taking its toll mentally also. Mentally also, it must be taking its toll on the people because finally they are used to that kind of lifestyle. I'll give you a very interesting anecdote here. It was the premiere of Three Idiots, if I'm not mistaken. It was an Amir Khan film, Three Idiots. I think it was Three Idiots. And the premiere was held at IMAX. You must hear this. It's so beautiful. And Amir was running temperature that day. He had fever. But of course, it was a premiere, so he had come. And the screening was across IMAX, all the screens. So I had seen the film, and many like me, Prasoon Joshi and Kamal Gyanchandani of PVR, we all were sitting with Amir and chatting. Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, we all were sitting there and chatting on the ground floor. All the screens are on the first floor. And then a unit hand came and whispered, and Amir's wife Kiran Rao was also with us. So somebody whispered to Amir, "Sir, first screen ka khatam ho gaya." So Amir said, "Acha." He's saying, "Bas abhi 2 minutes mein it's getting over." So Amir said, "And baki?" So he said, "There's a gap of 5 minutes. So first screen will get over in 2 or 3 minutes. After 5 minutes of that, the second screen. After 5 minutes of that, the third screen, and so on. So Amir said, "Okay, then chalo, let's go." He got up. So Kiran said, "Babu, but you're not well. You'll be pushed and pulled, and people, and you're running fever. So you want to go?" So right there, Amir turned around and said, "This is what we all live for. We want to be pulled and pushed. We want to be hugged. We want to be pulled this side and that side. You think I'm going to let it go because I have fever? This is what I live for. I have to go." I thought it was such an honest statement. Therefore, your question that what must the celebrities be going through? They must be going through hell.
They must be going through hell. My last question to you, Mr. Nat. I know you don't have a crystal ball to know what the future is, but how far do you see us from actually going back to theaters? You've always been an optimist and said that theaters and that habit of going to theaters and watching the film is not going to go away in a hurry. That's going to stay with us, no matter how many pandemics come and go. But how far do you see us from actually going back?
I really don't know. I really don't know, neither from the industry nor from the medical profession. And pardon me, probably even God at this juncture can't say when will normalcy return. I'll tell you another joke. Are we running out of time or there's time?
No, not at all. Please go ahead.
There was a businessman who went to God and asked, "Okay, God, I'm going through such terrible times, and I've made so much loss, and I don't know how to feed the family, how to run my office, this, that. You tell me when will good times return in my case?" So God looked up, did some calculations, and he said 3 more months. So the businessman went very, very thrilled. Then a chartered accountant went. He's saying, "I've lost so much clientele. I don't know why the clients are just leaving and going. I'm doing my best, and my revenues have gone down from this to this, and what to do and how long will I take to come back to normalcy or to earn the same amount?" And God did his calculations and he said, "I think 1 more year of misery, and after that you'll be back and you'll make a lot of money." So the chartered accountant, although sad, but he said, "Okay, I'll at least get my this good times back. And then the third and the last person was the producer. The producer went, God, I'm releasing this film on tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, and I have spent so much money. I have taken the topmost stars, and I've done this, and I've done this, and the songs are so popular, and this. And tell me, will I make profits or losses? God tried to do his calculations, looked here, looked there, looked everywhere. And he said, I'll answer that question after the first show is over on Friday. So even God could not predict how the film would be. So I think in this case, even God will not be able to say. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that it gets over. But one thing I'll repeat, when normalcy returns or near normalcy returns, when people feel safe and secure in large gatherings also, I think the business of films is going to be so huge that you and I sitting here or the entire film industry cannot imagine. We will see collections of the kind we have never seen. It's the pent up emotions of the people. People are dying to go to the cinemas, wanting and waiting to watch films on the big screen. The magic of big screen entertainment cannot, will not be replaced. So
I love that optimism. Mr. Nahata, I love that optimism. And I hope, because all of us are dying to go back to theaters, and I hope so because it involves the, the mehnat, as they say, of so many people, the heart and passion of so many people. Thank you so much once again for being on the
Thank
note.
you for having me.
And an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. And it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.